or how to spot a predator or someone that's going through those things. Do you know it when you see it?
I wouldn't say you know it if you see it, but what I will say is that people have a look for what they think a predator looks like. Mm-hmm. It's not always an ugly look. Mm-hmm. It just isn't. It could be the most mannerable, well-dressed, well-educated person, and then people watch for the person, the female or the male that is kind of standoffish. No, watch for that one that's really close.
Oh yeah.
And as far as the victim, yeah, there's a lot of people that, okay, the kid didn't want to go there screaming and crying, so that's a clue. No, I went, I didn't scream, I didn't cry, I went, and I was actually the opposite. I was very protective of this person, very, very protective. So you have to, if they're overly protective, it sounds crazy, but that could be a very well sign, a very well sign that something is not right. When they're constantly wanting to, I couldn't take enough showers. Couldn't take enough showers. And it's weird, instead of not, I still went with that person, but it's like certain things. I just remember, I have to say this, I remember we were going to a drive-in movie theater, and I'm thinking, oh yeah, it's not gonna happen today. And my brother and my cousins are left in the car, and I have to use the restroom, so I go to the restroom, but I kind of look back for my big brother and my cousin, and they're just sitting in the car, and I'm like, but I'll be all right. It's thousands of people. I mean, what could happen here? This is an open place. And that was one of the worst times going in that bathroom. And so after that, I would have a fit. I didn't want to go to the movies. I didn't want to go to the drive-in. Until this day, I don't go to a drive-in. I finally started where I would go to the movies, but you can't get me to go to a drive-in, And so when there's particular places they don't want to go, look for that, and ask questions. You just have to. I don't care how much you trust the person and you never heard of such, because people would be surprised how actually many people this person has violated. I did a family, was supposed to be a family tree, but instead of it being a family tree, it's a molestation tree. And that tree had so many leaves, it was so filled up, So ask questions, just ask. My mom didn't think to ask anything, she didn't know to ask. And had she had asked me, I don't know if I would have told. But still ask, because you never know, that may be that relief that they need, So no matter how much you think you can trust them, what they look like, what position they hold, what job title, I mean, you have leadership there, you have to ask questions.
Preachers, teachers, coaches, brothers, sisters, fathers, mothers, it doesn't matter who it is, you have to be careful for whoever.
Yeah. That's, yes. You can't get in your mind, this person, you have to just be.
Yeah, correct.
For whoever, yes.
Yeah. And I tell you, and before we close this out, that's why even when it comes to my daughters, I have 7 daughters, and I never wanted them to sit on any man's lap. Don't you sit on his lap. You don't sit And you know, I done told a couple of men, no, don't you pick up my daughter and put her on your lap. When my daughter is 5 years old and this and that and 4 and 5, no, you're not sitting on no man's lap. You learn how to sit on the chair. That's what you sit on.
Exactly.
So and so I went the same route. Never wanted any young ladies or young men to sit on my lap because it just didn't look right. Just didn't feel right. Just didn't. Anybody that wanted that, it kind of bothered me.
Yes, sir.
So just that little thought right there as well. What would you say to others that have dealt with what you've dealt with and they've been quiet, they haven't said anything, they haven't opened up? There's so many people that really deal with things like this, but they never get the opportunity to speak about it, or they might have the opportunity, they never take the opportunity to speak about it. And not only that, but some that might see this and they might be dealing with this in their families, in their homes, in their schools, or in their churches, wherever it might be, they might be dealing with something like this. What would you tell them? What would you tell each of those people?
Don't hold it. Don't hold it. Don't hide it. Tell it. It's not your fault. After I got to a certain age, I was like, everybody's gonna be like, oh, you must have wanted it, or you know, the negative things, or why didn't you were old enough to stop it. I don't care what anybody says, what anybody thinks. Tell it. Don't hold it in. Tell it. You have to tell it. You just like an alcoholic or anything, they have to acknowledge it first.
Right.
And you have to say it, and you have to say it, you have to speak it. You can't worry about, because this is just the beginning of my story, because eventually I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna say the relationship, because I think that's important too. I'm gonna say the relationship, you know, and tell my story in its entirety, because this is only a small portion of it. And that's what has kept me in bondage so long, was not being muted. You know, don't allow anybody to mute you. And if God be for you, he's more than this world against you. So you have to tell it. You can't think about everybody else, because it's not everybody else that's going to sit in this chair. It's not everybody else that's going to hurt. It's not everybody else that's going to go through. They may go through it too, but you're going to be the one feeling it, you know. And so you have to talk. You have to tell it. Don't worry about who believes you, who don't believe you. Because like I said, if God is for you, he's more than this world against you. And as long as we got King Jesus, and if that's all we have, that's everything we need. That's all that we need. And that's my biggest, just tell it, tell it. I don't care how long ago it happened, if it's happening now, I don't care what age you are, you have to tell it. Just tell it.
Amen. I am in total agreement with that. Tell it. So you can start your healing process. Tell it, because it's a process of healing.
Yes, it is.
And sometimes, you know, we just want it to be over with. And it doesn't happen that quick.
It doesn't.
It took me to get in my 30s to really deal with some things. And when I began to deal with that, you know, I started crying. I started getting messed up about things. I mean, I'm a little boy, and another young man, older than us, he wanted to act like he was a woman and wanted me, my brother, and others to treat him like he was a woman. I finally said something to him after being an adult, after being a pastor, after being this and that, looked him in his face and told him, and he looked at me and laughed. And after he laughed, he called me a liar. And so he went out and said something to my brother. And my brother said, you know what you did. You know, I was right there.
That's right.
So when he said that, it's like it did something to him as well. And with that, that was my opening to start trying to heal. You know,
Yes.
I had said something to my wife. I had said something to, you know, a counselor, because sometimes we need somebody to talk to.
Yes. Yes.
But then when I said something to him, and that's the way he responded, that's the way that I had to receive it, because all of my life it made me horrible. I slept with every woman that I came in contact with. I was an abuser. Whenever I seen a homosexual, I beat him up. You know, I did that. It did a lot of different things to me. I didn't know how to love. I didn't know how to do this. I didn't know how to do that. You know, and there's a lot of different stories that, you know, I could get into when it comes to that. So I understand when we talk about it's just scratching the surface.
Yes, sir.
So what I would say to you as we're closing out is that I'm very, very extremely proud of you, because so many people don't make it the way we did, because there are so many suicidal thoughts.
Oh, yes.
That we have. There are so many things that make us just want to give up. There's times we just want to shut down. We smile on the outside when we're literally dying on the inside. And it's so much pain that people don't even understand that we're carrying around, and everybody else is happy. They haven't dealt with what we dealt with. They haven't been through what we've been through. So they don't understand, you know, what we feel, and even for us to try to say it, to explain it, is too heavy. We just would rather just get out of this world and get away from things.
Yes.
And people don't understand. It has turned many. You got some, and I have to give her props for what she does, whether I believe in this or not. But I look at, and I'll say this, some have been molested, they turn into homosexuals. Some have been molested, they turn into lesbians.
Yes.
Some have went through certain things, and others do what they do because of curiosity. But I'm saying in this sense, you have people like Ellen DeGeneres.
Yes.
She was molested by her father. And by her father, but with that being said, it done a lot of things to her.
Yes.
I'm proud of you for where you have come from, all that you have been through, and to still be the most beautiful person, the best, biggest heart that I have ever seen in my life. So I'm thankful for you, and I want you to keep your head up, and you keep pushing, and you keep going forth in your healing process, and don't let anything stop you. And our healer is God.
Yes, sir.
You understand?
Yes, sir.
And time can be our healer, but sometimes when we allow time to do so much to us and take so much from us, it can be hard, because in time, you know, you get used to things over time.
Yes,
and get
sir.
used to things over time, it's harder to break habits. It's harder to get loose. It's harder to do all that, but it's not impossible.
Yes, sir.
So we're heading to a complete healing.
Yes, sir.
Amen?
Amen.
And that is for each and every one of you out there as well. God bless you, and we hope that you get something out of this. Please take heed to this word. Please take heed. Watch out for your children. Watch who they're around.
Yes.
Don't just put all your trust in anybody. Yes, we can trust people, but don't put all your trust in anybody. Make sure that you're watching for signs, that you're watching for things, so because you don't want to wait until it's too late, because it can cause you to do some things that you won't be able to come back from. So, and I think that'll be that. God bless each and every one of you.